And I remember saying to her, I was like, am I gonna lose the baby? And she was just like, yeah, we can't save the baby. And I was just like, okay. Hey guys, hey, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are doing wonderful. I hope that you guys are keeping safe and doing well. So in today's video, I am back and I'm just going to be sharing pretty much it's just like a life update slash like a story time about what's been going on with me lately. Like when I said so much has been going on, I mean it's a lot. So the sole purpose of this video is not to really put myself out there, just to tell my own business, but it's really to, you know, raise awareness about like this certain topic, and also just to be that pillow for other women to lean on if anyone is, you know, going through a situation like this. Because when I was going through everything, and even now, like, I really found comfort in doing research and just like seeing other people's story. Like, that's the one thing that really helped me to get through this huge, you know, moment, this huge obstacle. Like, it's just to see that, okay, I'm not the only one that went through something like this. At first, it was really hard to find videos like these. It was really a rare topic to find per se. But I was just obsessed. Like, I wanted to hear other people's story. I wanted to see, okay, what did this person go through? How did it feel for this person? What was the outcome? I believe that we keep stuff to ourselves a lot, and it is okay to share, like, especially if it's something that's gonna help someone else. I hope that you find this video helpful if you are going through this, or if you know a family or a friend, and also that you can get educated today on this topic. So as you can see from the title of this video, so I'm going to be talking today about ectopic pregnancy, and I'm going to be sharing my story. And this is a rare type of like pregnancy loss. So it is like about 200,000 cases per year. So it's very rare. And it's something that I've never heard about, which is also one of the reasons why I wanted to share my story. It's like I've never heard about ectopic pregnancy before. I just didn't know anything about it until I was in that situation. Okay, so what is an ectopic pregnancy? An ectopic pregnancy is when a fertilized egg or the pregnancy implants itself outside of the uterus. So it's supposed to travel on the fallopian tube and go into the uterus and implant there. If it gets trapped in somewhere else, like a fallopian tube, which was my case, or like somewhere outside of, I didn't realize how many different places a pregnancy can you know, implant and get stuck. But in my case, my pregnancy was stuck in my fallopian tube. So an ectopic pregnancy cannot survive. You can't save it. Like, there's nothing that you can do. And if it stays and grows, like, it's life-threatening. So pretty much an ectopic pregnancy is nothing to play with. Like, it's literally like life-threatening. Like, it will kill you. So my story is that my husband and I, we've been trying for like over like 3 years. We've been trying to get pregnant, and we were not successful at all. And around September 2020, I was like, you know what, this is it. Like, I'm gonna like try to find a fertility specialist. Like, whatever we have to do, like, I'm down, I'm ready. I want to know what's going on. Like, let's get it on and popping. I was supposed to see the specialist on January 24th. So a week before that, which was like, I think day 14 for January 14 or something like that, I was due to get my menstrual cycle. And I was just like, you know, usually I test, like, I think November, December, like I tested. I was like, okay, like, you know, it's always that small possibility, like, this could be the month, like, this could be the month. And also to mention, like, I was also late. November and December, I was like late, maybe like a day or two. So around January, I was just like, you know what, like, I just wasn't thinking like, okay, this could be it, right? So I was one day late, and a friend of mine came over and I was like, hey, you know, like, grab me some tests from Walmart. He dropped the test back, and Kareem and I, we were like watching this movie, and something was like, we paused the movie for a moment, And I was like, you know what, it's a good time to like go test, like just to get it out of the way. Like I know it's gonna be negative, so you know, why not? So I went to the bathroom and I peed on the stick, right? Before the pee could even finish going all through, like it was positive. Like, I mean, as soon as I dropped the pee on the thing, like it was just like it was instantly positive within 10 seconds. And I was just like I literally was just like, okay, this is wrong. Like, let me reread the instructions. Maybe I'm like freaking out. Maybe I'm tripping. And I looked at the instructions, the box, and it was just like, and I was like, okay, so, and I was just freaking out. So I ran out of the bathroom and I was just like, oh my God, like, babe, look at the test. So it was just like this exciting moment. Like, we've been waiting for this moment for so long. My family, my friends, like us, we've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And for this moment to just happen, I'm just like freaking the heck out. I was just like, are you serious? So the next morning we were like, all right, like let's get some expensive tests, the one that tells you like pregnant or not pregnant, and we're like, just, you know, whatever. So we went and got those tests and it was like positive. During that whole week, like I was feeling like really dizzy. Like I was having like these really bad vertigo, dizzy spell type of thing. Like I was just like really dizzy, like to the point where like I feel like I would just like faint. But I wasn't really taking it for anything. And the next thing is my stomach was like overly bloated. Like I was just so bloated. I was just like, you know, part of me was just like, maybe this is just like one of the pregnancy symptoms kicking in. Like, you know, it's just a part of the whole process. I was just not thinking anything of it. But I remember that Saturday I woke up and my belly was like high, like my stomach was high, and I was like, am I having twins or like what's going on? Because like I have like an actual stomach. That day I didn't really eat anything, and so I went downstairs and like I started like I kind of felt like a little gas pain type of thing, because if I don't eat, like because I'm starving so much because of the pregnancy, like if I don't eat then I get gas. So I was just like, I went downstairs and I was like, oh my God, like it's almost like I had like a little cramp, but it was like gas pain. And he was like, see, that's why you shouldn't wait so long to eat. What are we gonna eat? So I'm like, all right. Like I was there trying to figure out like what we were gonna eat. I want to like, you know, do Wingstop. So while sitting there trying to decide what to eat, this pain hit me in my stomach. If it hit me from the top of my stomach to my lower abdomen, like from top to bottom, like it was just one strike of pain. It's like I've never experienced a pain like that before. Like, so I thought it was gas pain, right? I thought it was gas pain because the type of pain, like it was just like it hit me and it just kind of like stayed there. So once that pain hit, like it never eased up. So it hit me so bad that I was like, pretty much like this point I was like really like crying, like hunching up crying. So he was like, oh my God, like let me run and get the food. So we're thinking like it's just you took too long to eat and now it's gas pain. He ran out the door. In my mind I was like, if I could make it to the bathroom, like I would be fine. Like if I could just release whatever this is, I should be fine. And I could not walk. Like I literally could not walk because the pain, once it hit, it did not ease up. Like it was just there. And I crawled over to the restroom and I immediately, like cold sweat was washing me. Like I was washed in sweat, like my entire body. Mind you, I don't sweat. And then I realized like I couldn't manage to sit on the toilet. I was just gonna die. Like it literally felt like it was excruciating pain. So I fell on the floor. Like the pain was so bad that I was crying out for mercy. Like I was crying out to God for mercy. Like I legit was like, God, please have mercy. It was so funny. Like it's not funny, but looking back, I was just like, God, please. Like I was literally begging God for mercy. Like just because it's like, it wasn't like a normal pain, but I was just like, okay, this is a bad gas pain. I wasn't even crying tears, but I was just crying out to God. The pain was unbearable. Kareem came back, and at this point, like, I remember, like, it felt like I was like blacking out. Like it's almost as if I was falling asleep while being on the floor, because at this point he went to get the food from Wingstop, so I was just there by myself in pain. I couldn't move because if I moved, the pain would be more. So it's like I laid there and I would just like fall asleep and then wake up. I fall asleep, wake up. So I think that was my body kind of just like blocking out. Anyway, so Kareem came back from, and I was just like, please help me up. Like, he helped me up, helped me to go in the couch. So I laid in the couch, and at this point, like, mind you, everything started happening around like 7:45, like 7:30, 7:45. And at this point it was like 8:15 or 8:30. And I was just laying there on the couch, and I was so out of it, but I kept saying, I need to go to the hospital. And I think both of us thought that it was like just really bad gas pain. So even though I was saying I need to go to the hospital, like, I really wasn't pushing, because again too, like, I was really there, just I was blocking out, right? So I was like fainting, but because I was laying down. But I would wake up, and each time I wake up, like, the lights in the house was like green, blue, like everything was like weird. My body felt like, but it was just this feeling as if like my body was shutting down. Like, I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't move, because if I move, the pain would be so bad. So I would just lay there and like sleep, but it wasn't really sleep. Okay, I was asleep. For one, I was trying not to move at all, because if I move, for one, I was losing oxygen. So at this point, like after maybe an hour, like I couldn't breathe. Like, I started to like lose oxygen, and I was just like, I can't breathe. And I was trying to call my aunt, because I'm like, okay, she's in the medical field, so if anything, like, maybe I'll ask her, like, what do you think? Like, should I go to the hospital? And I was like, told Kareem to pass my phone, and I couldn't really see. I couldn't hold my phone. Like, not like I was just completely, my body was done. Like, my body had shut down. Whew. I kept saying we need to go to the hospital. At this point, I think he was ready to take me to the hospital, but I would say that, and then I would just fall right back asleep, which wasn't really sleep. I was just like blocking out, because at this point I was losing oxygen. I couldn't breathe. So I would just like scream, like I would ask him to just like hold my hand, because like I think it was just like that reassurance, like, okay, you're not dead. You're alive, like, you're fine. So I would just like squeeze his hand as much as I could, but it's like I was just like hyperventilating, like I couldn't breathe. But all through that, like, I was never thinking, okay, it was anything to do with pregnancy. At the very least, I was thinking I was having like a heart attack. I was like, okay, like, it's something with my heart, because I can't breathe, and whatever pain that I'm feeling is from lower abdomen area to up to my chest. And the fact that I'm losing oxygen and I'm losing consciousness, it gotta be like a heart attack. Like, Kareem was already ready, and I was like, I think the last time I was like, hey, I said we need to go to the hospital. And after that, I realized quickly, whenever I tried to move my body at all, like even if it was just to squeeze Kareem's hand, like, I felt like I was losing life a little bit more. Like, each time I did anything simple, anything small, it's like I was using up an amount of like energy, and I was just like, there was no way I would be able to make it to the car, make it to even the door. Because I mean, he can't lift me, like, not saying he can't, but it's like that's kind of like dead weight. That would be hard. So I was just like, I just knew like I wasn't gonna be able to get up, make it to the car, to make it to the hospital. Like, that was literally a death sentence. And then in my head, I knew it, because in my head I thought I was having like a heart failure, heart attack, something. So I was like, the little consciousness that I had, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make it. So I started saying, when it got bad and I realized like I literally could not breathe, I was like, we need to call the ambulance. And for maybe like 10 minutes, we didn't do anything. I kind of just blocked out again. And at this point, mind you, everything started from like 7:30, and at this point it was like maybe midnight. So I've been sitting there just suffering, thinking it's a gas pain for like so long. So when I couldn't take it anymore, I was like, call the ambulance. So he called the ambulance, and this guy is gonna say, lady asked, okay, like what kind of symptoms is she having, whatever. He was like, yeah, so she's like having symptoms of COVID. And I'm just like, in my mind, like I was just like, COVID, like I don't got no COVID, because I just did a test at work, a COVID test at work. So I was like, I don't have no COVID, but I couldn't really say I don't have COVID. I was just like, whatever. So like maybe 10 minutes after that, the ambulance came. At this point, everything was in and out. Like it was just in and out. So there are certain things I remember, some things I don't. So I remember him saying the ambulance is here. And I fell asleep again. And then I remember him coming in and they were like, what is your name? Da-da-da. And I was like, I said my name. What's your age? Da-da-da. And I'm like, so they were like asking me questions, and I'm just like, but I like, even though I guess because they were asking me so loud, like it allowed me to like be alert, but I did not see their faces. Like I don't know who picked me up, like I don't know who it was, because I was just that unconscious. They took me up, they like put me on the bed, wheel me out, da da da, and I was just like that was the most painful thing in the world. Like I felt like I was gonna die. Like they like just picking me up to put me on the bed was horrible. Like when I say horrible, I mean like my body was just, it was just too much. Like it was just too much. Like he had to give me oxygen because I was just like, I can't breathe. Like I literally could not, like I was literally, like I felt like each time I was taking my last breath. And he gave me the oxygen, and then they drove off, whatever. So we pull up in the hospital. Oh my God, they put me onto that hospital bed. That was the worst. Ooh, that was the worst thing ever. That bed was so uncomfortable. Like my entire body was just in shock, and in the midst of like everything and the unconsciousness, I was just trying to find a way to be comfortable. So by this time, like I was there, and they were like trying to like hook me up. They were like asking me questions. I think at this point it was less pain, and it was more so oxygen. Like I was losing oxygen, so like I just couldn't breathe. Mind you, I've never struggled with asthma. I've never had any breathing issues before. So I feel so much sympathy for people that really do have breathing issues, because that was a low point. Like to feel like you're taking your last breath, it hurts so bad. It's like, it's almost as if you're underwater and you're drowning, but you're still alive. Like it's the worst feeling ever. The first nurse, she was so mean. She was so rude. They were trying to like get blood and trying to like hook me up to IV and stuff like that. And they were like, don't move. And I'm just like, for one, I can't even see. Like my consciousness was so low to the point where I wasn't seeing anyone. I don't know what these people look like. Like I was just more so focused on just like staying as steady as I can, like on the most comfortable side I can. So she was just like, you have to stay steady. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying. And then at one point the pain hit me so bad, and I was just like, the pain and then the breathing. So I was just like, I can't breathe. But I wasn't shouting at her. I was more so just, it was so bad, it was so painful that I was just like, pretty much like, hey, like I'm here, y'all need to help me because I'm dying. Like literally I wanted to say I'm dying, but it's like I couldn't really. So she was just like, ma'am, you don't have to scream, and I'm like, I'm not screaming, I just can't breathe. And the whole time, like she was like having an attitude, whatever. So she thought she gave me oxygen because the oxygen thing was in my nose, but I still couldn't breathe. So she was like yelling at me, screaming. But after a while, she realized the oxygen was never turned on. So I was literally losing all my oxygen, not able to breathe. And you were like shouting at me like, girl, bye. But anyway, And I guess at that time I was like, I asked her like, please hold my hand, like just please. I was like, can you please hold my hand? Because it's like I felt like I was like leaving, like I was going slowly, like slowly but surely, like I was going. Like I don't know what the problem was, but I know I was slowly dying. And that sounds so crazy, but I was slowly dying. So at this point Kareem wasn't there, or I think he was there but he wasn't allowed to come in yet. So I was like, can you please hold my hand? And she was just like, okay, I'm gonna hold your hand, but I'm gonna get your husband. So your husband, she was like having such attitude, and I'm just like, girl, like whatever. After a while, like maybe after an hour, when I said like the room was filled with people, but at this point, like I was so unconscious to the point, like I don't even know, like I just remember opening my eyes and it was like a room full. Like when I say full, I mean at least 20 something, 30 something people. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was a lot of nurses and doctors. And the ultrasound tech came and she was doing the ultrasound. Oh my God, that was so painful. She's like, all I remember her saying was, oh my God, there's so much fluid. And I was just like, fluid? Like, what does that mean? It's like at this point they had to like call the doctors, like whatever doctor was on call. Like it was like at this point I guess they realized like I was internally bleeding, so my stomach was filled with blood. Like I was losing so much blood. So at this point, like I started just throwing up and whatever, and then the doctor came in and she said, hey, this is an ectopic pregnancy. We're gonna have to take you to surgery right away, like right now. She said, we're gonna have to remove your fallopian tube. And I was like at that point I was just like, in the moment, like I was just like, okay. And I remember saying to her, I was like, am I gonna lose the baby? And she was just like, yeah, we can't save the baby. And I was just like, okay. But in that moment, because of how bad I felt, mind you, like when I say I'm scared of surgery, like anything surgery, like I'm scared, like, but I was so ready. Like I remember the same nurse that was being mean to me, I think after she realized how bad it was, because I think they all thought it was just like a regular stomach pain or something, or maybe I was just having a miscarriage, I don't know. But she was just like, I was like falling away again, and she was just like, come on. She's like, stay with me, like wake up, stay with me please. And she was like all of a sudden being so nice and sweet. I don't know what changed, honey, but I remember her saying, you're gonna feel better, okay? And I was just like, I'm gonna feel better. She's like, yes, you're gonna feel so much better. And I'm like, okay, please hurry up. I was like, please hurry up so I could feel better. I guess I didn't even realize like feeling better would mean surgery. I was just like, whatever it is, like even if you have to like, I don't know, remove my heart, like as long as I'm gonna feel better, like just take me. So they brought the papers over and they were like, sign. I guess I was just signing my life away. I could not sign, so Kareem just signed it, and I just remember them wheeling me away to surgery. And now at this point it was maybe 3 p.m. and you're gonna need a blood transfusion. And I was just like, okay. And then I remember them just like pushing me away, and it was just so many nurses around me. I remember going in this room, they put something over my nose, and that was it. I woke up from surgery. So I look crazy, but just wanted to like document this moment. Today is the 24th of January, and something that we've been waiting on for so long came to us, and within a split second it was taken away. So I suffered a ectopic pregnancy, but God knows best. And we're gonna be fine. I'm ready for the journey, whatever it brings, because I know God is able, and God does all things well. So I know I look back on this day and I'll be thankful. That's all. The nurse, she was like an angel. She was just like, you lost so much blood. We're so glad you came in when you did. And the doctor came to talk to me after, and she was just like, she's like, I'm so glad you came in. Like, if you waited like any longer, you would not survive this. Like, it was like, it's almost as if they were amazed because of how much blood I lost. Like, and it was just the craziest thing that I've ever been through. In my head, I was like, oh, maybe I'm just like exaggerating. But it's like deep down, like I knew that my body was going through something that was so abnormal. Like the pain was abnormal. I didn't know at that time that my fallopian tube was ruptured and I was internally bleeding out. And that whole thing of me not being able to breathe and, you know, just like pretty much like sleeping away was pretty much me almost losing my life. It was just such an eye-opening moment. It was the craziest experience I've ever been through. Like, I woke up from surgery and I wasn't able to do anything for myself. Like, my life was changed. Went to the hospital pregnant, and I came back home not pregnant, and it was confusing. At first, it was just like these emotions of, oh my God, like I'm just so grateful for life. Like I'm just so grateful, like, because I know I went so close to dying. Like I felt it, but when the doctors like told me, like, girl, I was like, oh, so I wasn't tripping. Like I actually was dying. Like, you know, after a few days, I was just like, okay, like, yeah, I'm grateful, but what? Now I only have one fallopian tube. What? Like I had to get blood transfusion to save my life because I lost so much blood. I had to get like 5 bags of blood. I lost a body part. And not only that, but I have this scar that is pretty much a C-section scar to look at, and recovery was hell. And I was just like it was so much emotions, like days, like it was just different. Like it was just so crazy. Like to me, like that was such a horrible experience, and it all happened so quickly. And I was just like, you know, like it was just this whole thing. Overall, I'm just grateful for life. I'm grateful to be able to be here to just tell this story. I wanted to share my story because this is not something to keep hush hush and to keep a secret. And this was a matter of life and death. Like, and I just thank God for life because He spared my life for another day, another time. I don't know why, but you know, I'm here for a purpose. And I just wanted to share my story because I feel like God was so merciful to spare my life. And also like the stuff that women go through, like to bring a child into this world, like no one, you know, desires to be a mom, desires to be pregnant and go into this thing thinking like, oh, I'm gonna die, or is a possibility that my child is gonna die, or you know what I'm saying, like you don't go into it with that mindset. I had so many questions. Like, how could I have known that, okay, call the doctor, go to the hospital because something isn't right? How would I have known that this bloating, this dizziness, yeah, I don't know, like, I didn't have the typical symptoms, for one, of like an ectopic pregnancy. Like, I never once did I think, like, okay, to do research or anything, because it was just like I was fine, and all of a sudden it was just one hit, and that one hit was pretty much almost took my life. So I just wanted to share my story. Like, I literally stayed up nights. Like, I literally stayed up and just researched, try to find videos and like different stories, just to, it gave me peace of mind. Watching videos like these was the only thing that kept me going, and the only thing that, you know, like, really, I don't know, and then to see that other people go through this and then come out with like a success story is also like really helpful. So it was just really scary, and that's why I wanted to share my story today. I think I'm gonna do a follow-up video, maybe like a Q&A thingy, where I find like the most search questions, and like even questions that I had from myself personally that I kind of wanted to know. Like, I was, you know, very anxious and wanted to know so many things, and I was like searching the internet, searching for these videos, doing research for all these answers. So I want to be that person. So I think I'm gonna do a part 2 to follow up, you know. So recovery was hard. If you're going through this, just take your time, don't push yourself too much. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you again in my next video. Bye.